Happy Sunday everybody, I hope we're all doing well. We're back for our next instalment of our live lessons. Continuing our Sunday and Wednesday tradition here with the live lessons through lockdown. And tonight is a bunker session, which is definitely going to challenge me for this one. So bunker tips at home without the sand. But bunker play is probably my favourite thing to teach. I've always been fairly decent in the bunkers, and personally I'd rather be in the bunker than the grass. So hopefully after 10 minutes of watching this, you can take some of them tips into this week, into getting back on the golf course. Particularly tricky this time of year with the sand. You know, it can be wet, it can be thick, it can be bare lies. So lots to go through tonight with content on bunkers. So hopefully you'll get a couple of things that you can take from tonight and take it forward into Thursday. Welcome to all our new members this week, some new subscribers to the live lessons. Hope you're enjoying the content. Feel free to go back and watch all the sessions which are in the library in the members area, and tell a friend that we are doing free tuition every Sunday and Wednesday. And don't worry, after lockdown we've got a nice plan to keep these sessions going on, so every week you can get access to coaching content from our community, so look out for some news on that later in the week. Okay, so I think we've got a few more ladies on the feed now, a few people watching. So we're going to go through some bunker tips. Now, the first thing I'll say is, and if you are guilty of this at home, when you get in the sand, definitely don't try and chip the ball out. Okay, so if I went through a normal chipping setup, so normal chipping setup here, which we've been through in previous live lessons, narrow stance, lean to the left, hands forward. That's a typical chipping technique which you might have been taught. So if we look at that, what straight away you're going to do is you're exposing this leading edge here. So on your sand wedge or lob wedge, this is really sharp. Now that is going to go straight into the sand, and it's never going to really re-enter and come out of the sand because it's too sharp. So first of all, never chip out the bunkers. Very difficult to achieve, and often it just thins over the back or you catch it too heavy. So what we need to do is, the first thing we need to do is we need to open the face. So I'm going to talk about green side bunkers now. It's just any bunkers around the green with a healthy amount of sand. So the first thing we do is you need to open the face. Now I'll show you how much you can open the face. We use our trusted blue tack, so you can get this at home. You can put it on your golf club, and just a guide, and something I always remember when I was learning bunker play, at your setup, you want to twist the club in your hands first, so you're opening the face up, so the club face points to your face, okay, so face to face, dead easy to remember that one, and that will give you an indication of how much actually you can open the face in the bunker. A lot of people, just play it quite square, open it a little bit. I would like to exaggerate this and get the face open, so that pen now is facing to my face. So in the living room or in the garden this week, just see actually what that looks like. So I bet that's more than you currently do. So open the face, and the reason why that's really important is what we want to do in the bunker. We want to try and use this part of the golf club here. So this is called the bounce of the club. Now, in a bunker shot, it's the only shot in golf where, if played correctly, the club face and the ball will never touch each other. So you've got to hit the sand first, which I'm sure if you're watching this, golfers, you'll know. You've got to hit the sand first. Now it's important when you hit the sand first, this bit here is the bounce of the club will bounce through and glide through the sand, and the cushion of sand between ball and club face is what lifts the ball out for you. Okay? Now when I was learning this when I was a junior, my coach gave me a great analogy which I really liked actually. So if you can imagine a speedboat crashing against the waves. Now the bottom of the speedboat, as it hits the waves, will bounce off the waves and go forward, okay? Imagine the speedboat going nose first into a wave, it's going to go straight into the water. So it's the same analogy here with the golf club. If you start up like this, into the water, into the sand, if you open it up, face to face, you'll glide through the sand and you'll lift it out, okay? So setup is key really to make sure that's right. So face to face first. Another couple of checkpoints for you. I like bunker play. I teach bunker play to very wide in your stance. The ball position goes forward of centre, and then we get the weight into our left side, just like chipping. Okay. Now the slight addition to that is just notice as I've got the face to face here. Can you notice how the club here is actually pointing back to my belly button? What we don't want to do here is get the hands forward, because that again will expose that sharp leading edge. So just notice my setup here. This is a good setup. Wide stance. This is going to our belly button, face to face. And then after we've got that, we're looking at really creating lots of turn with the body. Okay? So I've got a nice drill in a second to show you to test this, but this is a good bunker setup. So wide stance, face to face, lots of turn. Okay? Now I mentioned at the start, you've got to get the sand first. So obviously tricky to do stuff at home for this, but I think I've got a nice drill we can try. And all we need is a towel for this one. So the towel is really good actually, because it represents how thick and heavy the sand can be actually. So it's a good drill, this one. And all we do is we get yourself set up as normal. Wide stance. Lean to the left. I want you to just rest the club on top of the towel. And then your task then, as you turn, you're going to go lower and try and hit the towel right at the bottom and try and move the towel forward. In this case, into the kitchen. Okay? So wide stance, lean this way, and then through. Okay? So you propel the towel forward, and then you've gone down into the ground, and then you can get some lift. So that will give you a good comparison to what it's like. And because the towel was heavy, I know in the garden this is going to be a lot better. Notice how I had to really go through to get the energy. Okay? Now if you want to take that one step further, as I retrieve the towel from the kitchen. So if you want to take that one step further here, get the towel in play, get your golf ball, and just place the golf ball about 2 inches away from the edge of the towel. That would represent how far behind the golf ball I want you to hit the sand. Now obviously better in the garden, I've got my 80% golf balls here, so hopefully I won't cause too much damage here. But we're going to set up the golf ball as normal, wide stance, and then again all I'm looking at doing is taking a swing and hitting the bottom of the towel. And the ball popped up nice and high, and actually the towel went further than the golf ball, okay, which is your goal. That was a good example actually, I'm glad I didn't smash anything there, but the golf ball went really high and the towel went straight underneath myself, okay. So that's a good drill. Imagine that in the garden. Can you get the ball going nice and high and the towel going down the garden or in the front room if you've got flyaway golf balls? So that's a good little drill to try for greenside bunkers. Get the towel, leave the ball there. Okay. Now, what I will say before we move on to some fairway bunkers, which a lot of people have asked me about, when you are playing in the winter, particularly golf courses with not a lot of sand. Imagine that analogy I spoke about, all this bouncing off the ground. Quite simply, when you get sand, whether it's firm or no sand, you definitely want to square your face up, okay? So do the opposite of what I said, we don't need that bounce. That'll help. Or if you've got a lob wedge at home, I say to a lot of ladies with the sessions, a 60-degree lob wedge naturally has a very slim, no bounce bottom of the golf club. So doesn't have to be expensive, but a lob wedge is very good in greenside bunkers when you haven't got a lot of sand. So, but everything else still applies. Wide stance, keep the ball forward, but having a squarer face or a 60-degree will get the ball, just nip it rather than getting loads of sand. Okay? So, one more drill for you. Back to the kitchen for the towel. Okay. Now, one of the questions we get asked a lot, and I think this is a really good tip actually in golf, is obviously we've got on golf course we've got bunkers around the greens, but also we've got the bunkers in the fairways, right? Which actually can be quite tricky, and a lot of people say, how do we play them shots? So my advice would be, first of all, assess the height of the lip, so the lips, how steep the bunker is. If it's very steep, some can be as steep as this here. Take your medicine and go back to less than one I just did with the greenside bunker. Get it out, get it back in play. However, in a lot of bunkers in this country, particularly in parkland courses, the lips are quite low. So they can be just this high. So for me, a lot of clubs are available then, hybrids, 8 irons, 7 irons. So I've got my 8 iron here, And just some tips on this one which will really help. So we want to try and out of fairway bunker, we want to try and get the ball really far down the fairway, not just get it out. So our tactic needs to change. We can't be going getting loads of sand because that kills the speed and the energy. So what we want to try and do is just try and almost nip the ball off the top. We don't want to get loads of sand. And a couple of tips that I've found when I play help me with this. First of all, when you set up to the golf ball, I hold the club a little tighter. All right. Now the reason I do that is a tighter muscle is a shorter muscle. Okay, contracts. So if I've got shorter muscles here, there's more chance of me hitting higher on the golf ball rather than dropping into the ground. Okay. The second thing, good tip, is a lot of people when in greenside bunkers, and didn't add this at the start, but I would recommend for greenside bunkers, you see the shuffle the feet into the sand, trying to go low, like I said, wide stance. In the fairway bunker, we want to try and hit the ball higher, so don't get your feet too much in the sand, just lightly, just take your stance. We've got tighter muscles, and then the second thing we need to remind, the third thing we need to do is just put the ball ever so slightly further forward, okay, just like the greenside bunker, and then your main focus then is trying to keep your height through the shot, and we're just looking at grazing the surface of the sand, okay? So the towel drill again, give this a go at home or in the garden. Can you get a towel here, take some full swings, and just graze the top of the towel? We don't want to send it into the kitchen, okay? So nice full swings, and just try and get the top of the towel just like that there. So just try and feel like we're just clipping the towel rather than sending it 20 foot into the kitchen. And then you can imagine that as you come through, you're just going to slightly clip the ball off the sand and not get too much energy going into it. But I think in fairway bunkers, if your lip is quite low, don't just presume you have to come out sideways. Get 7-iron, get hybrid, but do them changes. Hold it tighter, ball forward, and keep your height. We don't want to lose height as we go into the ball. Okay? So, hopefully some drills there. As always, quick fire sessions, these. Bunker play, if you can do that setup I just said at the start, as soon as I see anyone for a bunker lesson, generally it's often very similar to that chipping stance. When I take my setup here, it's very different to that of a chip. Okay? I always remember a very famous story actually from years ago. Phil Mickelson, who's perhaps one of the best bunker players in the world, was struggling with his bunker play, and his coach told him to go and hit 200 drivers. Okay? Now, and I heard that and thought, well, how would that help? Well, all his coach was trying to do is he was trying to get him into that mindset of wide stance, ball forward, and just trying to assume, well, actually, if you look at my bunker setup here, that's not too dissimilar to a driver setup. Okay, Phil Mickelson was his setup had gone wrong, he put the ball too far back in his stance, so after hitting 200 drives, he'd come back, and suddenly, he was in driver mode, wide stance, ball forward, hands sort of level, and his bunker play was great. So driver and bunkers are actually quite linked. So think about your setup, get the blue tack on the pen, and see how much it's facing your face, and give all them tips a go. Okay. So I think that's it there. I think we're just about out of time on that one. So hope you enjoyed that session tonight. Some new stuff, some bunker content. Next on Wednesday we're back. We're going to be looking at some season specific tips. So we're back this week obviously. So soft ground, cold conditions, maybe wearing a few too many layers. What can we do to help with that? So hope you enjoyed that feed. Like I say, tell your friends, spread the word. The content's going to continue and ramp up from here. We're going to be back with our coaching at our facilities as well, which we're really excited about this week, obviously in a COVID-safe environment, which we're looking forward to getting set up. So hope you enjoy your first round or your first coach sessions back this week. Stay safe, everyone, and I'll see you on Wednesday.